Callum Lyle says for $5 Australian. I saw Way of Water last night. I enjoyed it. It was a nice break from stupid Marvel. You can tell Zoe Saldana, Kate Winslet, and Stephen Lang
That's called pregnant pause.
were themselves, and the two, Zoe and Kate, played the embodiment of Mama Bears. But importantly, a good father that wants to protect his family. So, yeah, that's a fairly decent review right there. I haven't seen the movie yet myself. Has anyone else seen it yet?
Not me.
Nope. No, but I'm.
Well, I saw Avatar.
Which Avatar 1 or 2? Did you see 2?
Yeah, I've seen them both.
Okay, all right. So what do you think of this assessment?
I really enjoyed it. Andre, you want me to talk about it now, or?
Yeah, sure. Let's hear your.
So let's
not do any spoilers just yet, but
yeah, no spoilers. I dreaded going to the movie. It ended up being a 5.5-hour project. I saw it on 3D IMAX. That theater's an hour away from me, so it was an hour away. So I had to drive an hour to get there, drive an hour to get back. Of course, getting in and out of the movie, that's another half hour easy. And the movie itself was 3 hours. I unexpectedly enjoyed it tremendously. I thought it was great as a dad to see this movie. I thought as someone who has a family, I think it's great I think it's going to be great to take kids to. This is not a movie for nerds and geeks. This is not necessarily a sci-fi movie either. This is a movie to have a fun time with a family-oriented themes. And I found the CGI and all of the action related to the CGI to be absolutely fantastic. And it basically made me realize that everything I've seen coming out of Marvel and Disney looks like crap, comparatively speaking. So when Gunn said the other day, when he threw a little shade at the seems to throw a little shade at the Disney Marvel folks, I laughed at the time. But having experienced it, I was blown away. Now, I saw it on a 3D IMAX screen. I plan to see this again. I want to go see it in 4DX. When I get back to California, there's a 4DX theater near my folks' house. So I plan to do that. This is not something to be pirated and streamed or watched on an iPad or a laptop. You're not going to get the experience.
Especially not if it's a handheld cam. That's not going to fly, is it?
No, absolutely not. This is not that kind of thing at all. I was shocked that I thought I have a problem with 3D. I usually get headaches. I usually get a little weirded out. And certainly for 3 hours going in, one of the reasons I dreaded, I'm like, I can't believe I'm going to put on freaking 3D glasses for 3 hours. I didn't have a problem at all. Now, I'm not saying any of the people in the audience that have 3D problems won't either, but I didn't. And I have had issues with other 3D movies. I'm not sure what it is or why it is, but I didn't have any problem. I found it amazing. I really found it amazing. And when it ended, I'm ready for the chapter 3. Okay. The way it ended, I was like, let's bring it on. Let me see the next one. Let's go.
I remember when watching Avatar 1, obviously James Cameron paid attention to the 3D in that in a way that no other movie before it or since, other than Avatar 2, paid attention to. I stopped going through the regular 3D movies, even that the horrendous effort by what's his name for The Hobbit. And that, pardon me?
Peter Jackson.
Yeah, Peter Jackson. And that stupid roller coaster inside the mountain bullshit just to get your 3D Jones going.
Oh, yeah.
Even that wasn't particularly good. But I remember Avatar and the 3D glasses was perhaps the only movie I ever saw that successfully used the technology. So I'm not surprised that he's... Pardon me?
Well, I'm sorry, Paul. You should watch Piranha 3D, which also it also very successfully uses the data.
You love that? I should watch it
so much. I love that movie so much.
It's a very good movie in 3D. I mean, Piranha 3D and Dread 3D are honestly some of the best examples of 3D outside of Avatar.
But the smoothness of Avatar's 3D was unlike anything I'd ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One other thing I want to add is that I'm not a big Avatar guy. I've never been to the Disney World experience, whatever that is. I do own the first one. I saw the first one in theaters twice. but I'm not like this big Avatar kind of like, ooh, I can't wait till it comes out type of person. I'm very much, like I said, I went in. The only reason I went to go see it yesterday is Six told me she was going to see it, and I wanted us to review it on Midnight Sit After Dark. And I thought, if it comes up on the morning show, then I can talk about it. I'm pleasantly surprised. I cannot wait to take my kid to go see it. It's what I cannot wait to do. I cannot wait. And fathers are portrayed in a great way. The family dynamic is there. And there is no wokeness in this at all.
Well, that's fantastic to hear. So basically, it was stupid of Cameron to go and talk about men need to purge their toxic masculinity and testosterone or something because it doesn't jive with what's in the movie.
I think that is completely an excellent point that you're making, Andre, because that right there, someone asked me about this last night. And my response was that's an example of sometimes the marketing of Hollywood doesn't follow the experience of the film. For example, there was a lot of that type of marketing, if we might remember correctly, in advance of, oh God, what was it? Oh God, I'm blanking. The Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow.
Mm-hmm. Which wasn't a woke.
Which I didn't experience it as being. I didn't have a woke experience. But boy, oh boy, was that marketing leading up to it super duper woke. Yeah. It's why in fact, that marketing is why I did not pay to see it in the theater, and I instead, eventually I did see it, but eventually I saw it, online.
Well, there's lots of bad marketing for Justice for All. With Al Pacino was one of the worst trailers I'd ever seen in my life because I thought it was a heavy drama movie, and then one day I went and saw it. I went, "This is a comedy." It was complete 180. I could not believe. Did anyone else see Justice for All with Pacino? It was a great movie. No, I think it was a Norman Jewison movie.
Yeah, well, I love Pacino. I will say this, James Cameron. I think two things are true about him. I think he is naturally a great storyteller. I think it's in his DNA. He's an instinctive, archetypal storyteller with a grasp of of sort of Aristotle's concept of three acts. He understands it very intuitively. At the same time, he's also in an absolute bubble in his personal life. he has no. I don't even think it's marketing. I don't think he has any idea how his little let me virtue signal that I'm a man I'm a man who's not a man, but I'm still a man, right? I don't think he has any idea how that landed. I think he's in his own planet, has no concept of where culture and society is. I think both those statements are true.
Probably, and this is a thing in Hollywood, as we like to point out. It's a bubble, and people who are inside of the bubble, who are also in an echo chamber, they may not be aware that they are, in fact, in a bubble. Well, but moving on from...
before we move on, I just want to give an example of that. I have a friend of mine who's worked on Steven Spielberg's cruise several times, right? And he shared with me a story of once they had to actually go film in LAX. And Steven went with them to do a location scout at LAX, right? And he walks in there, and this is Steven looking around in wonder. He hadn't been inside the main terminal of LAX in decades. He's like, they got restaurants here? They got a Starbucks? Wow. Because he's got his private jet since the 70s, right? He has no idea how LAX has evolved in 50 years. He doesn't know. And he was like, wow, this place has changed a lot since 1976.
I'll give Cameron credit if he's able to pull this off. His longevity has been extended as a creative person because even poor Spielberg, there will be a tag day for him. His last few movies have flopped, and the subject matter wise, they've been uninteresting. I think that's part of the reason. He's just sort of lost the sense of what an audience wants, and you need that in a creative person. And Cameron, if he gets this right, then he's at least maintaining that ability that he seems to have always had. He also made a very interesting point about Dark Fate. He said that's a version of Terminator that for my grandfather. So that was interesting in that he said that Schwarzenegger should never have been in it. He's looking to what the audience wants now all the time. That's a great ability to have, even when you get,
and Paul, watching the movie, my reaction was that I can see why he didn't want to work on that and work on this instead. I literally had that thought in the middle of the movie. I was so blown away by some of these scenes.
Yeah, and also, just to add to what you were saying, Paul, it not only will enhance his longevity, it will secure his legacy.
Yep.
Because that means that the axiom, if this works, never bet against James Cameron is still true. There were naysayers. I was among them. But if he's able to pull this through, and the movie ends up being as profitable as it needs to be, all kudos to him. Then you really never bet against James Cameron, no matter what the odds are. And now, because of Mike's review, and I trust Mike, now I'm going to see it myself. And honestly, full disclosure, I wasn't going to. I couldn't be asked to go see it. But after a review from someone I trust, that changes the equation for me. Moving on.
The analogy that I'll throw out for you, gentlemen, is that when Top Gun Maverick came out, and a lot of people were saying it wasn't going to do well, I said this is the movie that America needed at the time it was released. It needed it around the world. We needed to feel brave. We needed to be entertained. We needed that kind of, I think Andre called it America F yeah or something like that.
Yeah. The world needs that, not just America.
So
the
now
world right now need America. Fuck yeah.
So now with this movie, the themes on family, on fatherhood, it's what we need as a culture.
Yeah, absolutely.